Do you want to hear a bizarre story? Let's go then. The shadows in my room. My name is Elisa. I am 26 years old and currently live alone. When I was a child, I lived with my mother in a house in the countryside, a very peaceful place to live. However, every night, when I went to bed to sleep and turned off the lights, two shadows would descend from the door of my room towards my bed and would position themselves on either side of my headboard. It wasn't just a hallucination or shadow of furniture, they were actual people, of that I am sure. I was so afraid to sleep with them there that I would cover myself completely with my duvet and try to sleep, but it only made things worse because I couldn't breathe under the covers, and on hot days I would sweat a lot. But the fear was stronger. So I could never sleep at night. I would only fall asleep when the sun began to rise and my room lit up, and the shadows would disappear. I was afraid to tell my mother about it, because when I told my older brother, he would laugh at me and call me crazy. Am I really nuts? I don't think so. I felt terrible when this happened. I just wanted someone's support. Until one specific day, something happened that made me change my mind. It was around 10 o'clock at night, and I was getting ready to sleep in big quotes. Already knowing that the shadows would return and I would go through that nightmare all over again. But they didn't show up. That confused me. It never occurred to me. I was relieved and tried to sleep for the first time in a long time. But I still couldn't sleep without covering myself with my comforter. It made me feel safer. So I fell asleep, and suddenly I woke up. It wasn't morning yet, and I heard footsteps coming from the hallway, then entering my room. It wasn't the footsteps of just one person, it was two. They were getting closer to me, then stopped. I started to feel short of breath. I still felt someone there. I curled up under the blanket and wrapped it around me as much as I could for fear of someone pulling it. I started crying desperately. I didn't know who was there. I waited until the sun rose to go to my mother's room and tell her everything that was happening. I only put my eyes out of the blanket to check if there were still people or whatever that was around. The room was empty and I didn't hear footsteps leaving the room, which was very strange. I got up and ran to my mother's room. When I told her about the shadows and those things that had entered my room that night, her reaction was better than I expected. She said she would sleep with me in the next few days, put a lamp in my room, and we would pray every night for those shadows to go away. And I started sleeping well since then. After 2 weeks, she went back to sleeping in her room, since I was safer, and I continued to sleep with the lamp on and praying every day. And the shadows stopped appearing. I continued to sleep with the lamp on until I was 16. I moved to my apartment at the age of 20 and still live here today. I started to be interested in urban legends and macabre cases. I always read about it. Even more if it was about reincarnation. This week, something strange happened. The shadows returned, but they weren't just two, they were 7, all in different parts of my room. I was terrified without understanding why. So I turned on the lamp and started praying. Gradually they disappeared, but whenever I turned it off, they would come back, not going away anymore. It was disturbing me. I decided to write about my situation on the website of the stories I used to read. Until one day, someone responded with a photo, which scared me. The photo in question is this. Am I the reincarnation of a dirty soul?